In this lecture, we are going to focus an overview the different aspects of text analytics and how they are related with the topic of our course, Big Data Analytics. We're going to talk about the evolvement of text analytics, the broad sense, the natural language processing, and what are the most challenging issues on which we should focus as a data analyst, data scientist. The text mining and text analytics you will find used indistinctly in all the reading in the classroom and also in different references. So not only in this lecture, we are going to use the term text mining and text analytics as interchangeably synonyms, and you should keep this in mind for any of the reading. So the main question is, how is this related with the topic of study of big data analytics? As we delineated from the first week discussion, the big chunk of data and big data is text and images. 80% of big data is images and text. So, and where companies are considering the wealth of the information today is in text and images. And this is the reason why one of our important focus in this class is in analyzing text. So this is very important you keep in mind, because many of you, I can perceive by the discussion, are thinking about volume of data. This is very long concept. The problem with the volume is not the problem today, it's not the today challenge in big data. The today challenge is big data is text and images, which are unstructured data, and the way to analyze this data to get insight through them is the main challenges any of the enterprise face today. So this is very important key point for our class to keep in mind and to connect the dot, what we are doing and what we are doing this. Text mining, you were exposed since the course in text mining in Data 630. You overview, you even did project, what are the main approaches to mainly cluster and classify text. That was the main focus in Data 630. Here we are going to take broader approach, since this is very broad topic with a lot of application. So we are going to advance based on what you already have learned in Data 630. Just before advancing more, I would like to highly stress in the importance of text mining for different kind of application, starting with finding trends, pattern in different text, association terms, concept extraction, and analyzing different type of documents. So that is the main purpose of the today analysis. And before proceeding with the specific of text mining, I very would like that you pay attention to this graphical presentation, which will clarify and is very important. Every time you do something related with text, you try to map in this map, because text mining is very broad and at the same time integral approach to analyze data, evolving different areas like statistics, data mining, computational linguistics. And when you put databases, when you put all this together graphically as presented in the screen, you can come up with different applications in different areas and different approaches. For instance, what you did in Data 630 is to the left top hand of the screen, related with the intersection of data mining with the specific what is text mining. And what you did there in the project was text classification and text clustering. There are many other interesting areas, to some of which we are going to discuss in classroom, and also you will do practical project until the end of the class. For instance, the intersection of machine learning with computational linguistics and statistics give birth to something which is long researched area, which is the natural language processing and understanding. And as you understand, this is intersection of different areas presented here in the graphic. On the other hand, for instance, information retrieval has been important topic for library information sciences, and they are produced by the intersection of databases, text mining, and the domain need of library and information sciences. So, as you can see in this graphic, it's very important that you can locate the type of problem you try to analyze, the data you try to analyze, what is the purpose of the problem you want to solve, and which area are intersecting, and what will be the best approach to solve the problem you are trying to. And I highly suggest every time you do something with text, you try to map it in something like this, a little complicated but very instructional presentation, graphical presentation of the different components of this very challenging topic, which is text analytics. For instance, we are going to work as application in something which is related with natural language processing, computational linguistics, machine learning, and is subset of all this, which is application in sentimental analysis. Also, we are going after that to go in broader terms which relate to concept extraction. By the way, students in our program who are advancing to the end, to the capstone project, some of them are very interested in this important area of text analytics, and they are working in area related with concept extraction for application like in NASA. And concept extraction is not only for the purpose of domain purpose which NASA is interested. It's important almost for any area of domain, starting with biology, medicine, political science, social. So concept extraction, which you see here as big chunk of intersection, has to do with machine learning, computational linguistics, and what is actually the text mining, the broader term we are using in this case. So very important, we can distinguish the problem we are solving if they are actually, we are solving them using the advancement of natural language understanding and processing, or they are more, let's say, data mining approaches of classification, clustering, and we can get insight of this data. It's very important that although you can hear a lot about artificial intelligence and machine learning today, you understand that there are many, let's say, established data text mining approaches which can give a solution to many of the problems without going to these advancement techniques. There are other class of problems which any company is interested today, which cannot be solved with these traditional established text mining approaches, and natural language processing comes to hand to actually solve this problem. It's very important that you evaluate, you can delineate the approach you are using, what are the restrictions, what are the benefits, and you have, as a data analyst, to put in the weight what you can get from each approach and what is the most suitable for the problem you are going to solve. So I suggest as many times as you can, you return to this graphic and try to locate your problem there. So why is text mining so important in practice? And as we mentioned, is one very, very important topic in big data analytics because 80% of the data is text and images. I have summarized here different area of text mining, but if you think in real life today, what businesses have as a data, most of them are unstructured text, starting with insurance claim, with healthcare record, discharge summary from hospital, you name it. So when we go to area like unstructured text, the number of applications is unlimited. Let's start with something which everyone is very interested. Every day you are flooded by emails and you want this spam email filtered. You want that the computer can do some text extraction and summarize what you are receiving because if you receive 300 emails a day, you want that some computer program can do some automatic work for you. And this is actually part of what free text analysis approach can do for you. Not just filtering spam, but summarizing and extracting important concepts from the email you're receiving, categorizing the messages by subject, prioritizing email, and even many of us expect to have some generated automated response to a certain type of email. And the way we are advancing our world this today has come to be very important for a lot of businesses and a lot of individuals. This is just a small chunk where text mining, text analysis comes to help in the today businesses. Not to talk about very important area, which is the security related area, starting from encryption, decryption of text messages, and very importantly, monitoring all these online services which are related with social media, crime detection, prevention, blogs, all these type of security-related topic with text is related with analyzing free text. And here we are talking about of this unstructured data. We start talking from the beginning of the semester. Another example is the biomedical area, where you understand that in the biomedical area is it's not just about let's say extracting concept in the biomedical literature. They can help you in detecting sickness and even not only in patient diagnostic, but also in producing, let's say, important prescription, important treatment, and is one of the broadest area of analyzing free text. Even in area like court order, the free text is very important, and having some automatic program which can analyze hundreds of thousands of documents and extract certain concepts from this document is important, not only from the medical doctor, but also from the court order to enforce the law. So there is actually today no area where text analytics has no place. So this is one of the reasons I wanted to summarize everything you did practically in Data 630, how it has evolved to different area of application, and broaden your perspective, what you have to look when you are doing the project for this class. Although you are going to do a project, any project is some very, let's say, narrow area of application, but you will be applying all these concepts related with text analysis, and even using very small portion of them, you have to be aware of the power of this tool. So I would say that analyzing all this and studying the related reading in the classroom, please pay attention to all this summary I'm presenting here of the different text mining terminology, and make sure you include in your reports and in the required quiz answer what you have learned and how you apply this text mining terminology in your specific project. It's very important that you, when you read the assignment reading, don't try to understand the difference and the power and the purpose of each of these terms. What is the difference between corpus and word frequency? What is stemming? What is n-gram? All these terms are the basic, the foundation of text mining. You use it in Data 630, and this is the basic with which we start and evolve to what is natural language processing in this class. So at least in the first project related with text mining, you have to show your understanding of this term clearly as possible. And don't limit yourself only reading the assignment reading, the required reading. There is a lot of, let's say, recommended reading. Go beyond and above as much as you can and learn as much as you can. I'm going to summarize the main points which are important that you pay attention to them, because since the beginning to analyzing text been analyzing in computer science in conjunction with linguistics for more than 30 years. And the first approach was to break the text in what are small units starting with word, phrase, and larger segment, evolving to what is n-gram, where you combine certain words which should appear in different order. They have different meaning in the sentence. So very important you understand the meaning and the power of what is n-gram and how you can use them in your analysis. Also pay attention to what is better token to use for the problem you are analyzing, the free text, and also the power of what is the document matrix. These are, let's say, very basic key points. Try to understand them as much as possible. And of course, this is online class. Please share your thought, your understanding, your question in class discussion, because this is part of the learning in online classes. Very important. You put your concern, your understanding, and share with your colleagues, so everyone learn together and empower and totally understand not just the terminology of what is text mining and analytics, but what is the power, what is the weak point, what are the advantages of each of these approaches. Very important that you understand that when we do the approach of back of token, like the name suggests, you put the word as a engram, you use different technique like skimming, removing stop word, performing word cloud, word frequency, but at the end of the day, there is a back of token, like the name suggests. There is no specific order information. So you have to be aware that when you use this approach, you will be exposed to certain limitations, although there is solution to certain problems with these approaches. The limitations are that there is no order. It's like a back. You pull whatever comes from the back. And of course, since there is no order, there are certain limitations, and one of the biggest limitations of the approach of back of token is the context. It's very important, even if you use n-grams, if you don't put this combination of words in the context of the sentence, in the context of the whole document, because context limits not only to the sentence, context limits to the whole document and beyond. Context also goes historically, because there are certain things in context you don't need explicitly even to refer, because historically you learned that if there is raining, for instance, you have to do certain stuff. And it doesn't have to be specified explicitly in the text. So the main limitation of back of token, think about, is the limit of analyzing text in context. Just to point a little more to the complex nature of the unstructured text, I borrowed this diagram from IBM just because it's very well present what is the main challenge. It's not the same to have a table with structured data with two columns, in which one is person, other is organization, and you can see the name in the person column and the organization name in the second column, and you can match the Welch was in General Electric organization working. And if we put this information as an unstructured text, which is to the right, we understand that this unstructured text can mean different things depending on the context. Because if you read this text without thinking of any specific context, because you don't have knowledge about the structured data to the left, you read and you think that Jack Welch is a painter. Like, this is the first suggestion when you read this sentence. But if you put this sentence in the context that this is, let's say, a person who worked for General Electric, and actually he ran the company, when you put this in the context of what was the position of the person and which organization, you understand that this sentence, what actually described is the style in which he was running this company. He was running the company like in very artistic way, like a master painter. And this is the richness of the natural language. And of course, this richness is not easy to put as a power in the computational program, and we can expect that a program can analyze whatever unstructured text you put in the context. You understand, in order for a computer to do that, you have to teach the computer about the context too, not just about the meaning of the words in the sentence. And there is a bulleted point with very nice example to show the complexity of the natural language and why processing and understanding has so many challenges, and it has taken us more than 30 years to get to the point we are today, in which natural language processing and understanding has advanced, and today are available several, let's say, natural language understanding processing tools from different companies. Let's say most of the big company today who are in the realm of the analytic, like Microsoft, IBM, Amazon, Google, all they already have and provide some natural language processing tool which can help data analysts, data scientists in analyzing free text with, let's say, more advanced techniques than just simple text mining and text classification. So very important, you think about all these complex nuance of the natural language, and don't limit yourself just with established text mining techniques when you think about the problem you would like to solve. The advancement during the last 3 years, starting with syntaxis analysis, lexical analysis, evolving to semantic analysis, and you will say, well, if already a computer program can do semantic analysis, we have advanced and this is very helpful. Well, it never ends. It never ends because as a human, we go beyond the semantic, beyond the meaning of the text. We go beyond that in what is named inference. As a human, we use our knowledge and natural language not only to communicate. Natural language is not only to communicate. This is part of the knowledge, and as a data analyst, data scientist, you understand this is very powerful in order to get insight from data. So inference is part of the human nature. We can infer a thing and go beyond the actual knowledge from the documents. Simple example, you can infer, for instance, that you arrive home and the light is not turned on, that your wife or husband hasn't come home. Simple thing like this, not talking about more complex inferences which are based on our knowledge, we can infer by certain facts. So when we talk today about natural language processing and understanding, we don't finish just with the semantic analysis, which was a few years ago. We go beyond, and we want that the computer program can go and do similar thing like inference, the thing we as a human do. And it doesn't end with this issue. There are some very, let's say, topical issue which any natural language processing understanding program must be able to solve in order to be useful for data analysts, data scientists. And here we are talking about the synonym, the word level ambiguity, syntactic ambiguity, and Fourier resolution. And why is this important? We would like today, we have advanced at such a point, that a computer program can do things similarly with the language, with the text, we as a human do. But we as a human rely on context and always interpret, of course, when possible, everything in context. And as I mentioned, context can extend beyond given document. Just very, well, I very like this example. For instance, you think about a child in daycare and child is hot. And what you can assume in this case is that probably the child has a fever, is getting sick, is getting cold. This is just a very natural interpretation of the fact you're getting with the data. And in the context of child in the daycare, this is, let's say, a very reasonable conclusion. Now, if we are talking about the same thing, she's hot, but she is a person walking in Washington, D.C. in July with 98 degrees outside, hot and humid, of course, you understand that she's hot because of the high temperature and the humidity outside. But the meaning can be totally different. It depends in what context you put she's hot. She's hot walking in DC, she's hot as a child in daycare, but maybe the author is talking about she's sexy. So you understand, it depends in what context you're going to put the phrase she's hot, our understanding as a human, and the interpretation is different. And actually today, these are the expectations we have from a computer, that a computer can go beyond and interpret things in context. And as a data analyst, data scientist, you understand, for a computer to understand the thing in context, we have to teach the computer the context. And how we can teach the computer in context? Provide a lot of information, documents, all this information text, so you can teach the context to the computer. So then your expectation that the text you are feeding to the program is going to be analyzed in a text, in a context, the computer actually understands what the context is. You cannot expect differently, and I think everyone can reflect doing his project in this issue. So one important thing I want to stress here is, as a data analyst, data scientist, we are going to use the advancement of text analysis, natural language processing, as they are developed today in different domain area. We are not going to go to the in deep in this algorithm to try to make them more efficient. This is other area of study. Our aim is to obtain value of the unstructured text data. So we are going to use the provided packages algorithm software as they are to solve analytical problems. And if you are concerned what are the different type of natural language processing approaches, they range from rule-based to mainly statistical natural language processing techniques. And the most powerful and advanced today are the hybrid solution, which encompass rule-based and statistical. So when you work in a problem related with free text, which actually will be for a big portion of the course, think about your problem needs natural language processing, or you can do a big chunk of the work without going to this advanced technique using different text classification, text clustering to get some primary insight, and then use the power which are closer to the natural language processing. And we have access to many of these tools available today. And most importantly, think about that during the whole program, you are able to use data from different domains, which can be the domain in which you are working today, in which you would like to work tomorrow, or just are the data you are exposed to and you can work today. So you have seen in all the projects in this program, and this is not different in this course and the next one, which is the capstone, you can choose the domain area, which is highly related with the data you will be using. And the same thing is with text. You can, I have, let's say, a topical important application delineated here. You can choose any of this area for your text analysis with text data related either to healthcare, to education, to retail, to media and entertainment, to banking, financial, whatever you would like to choose is very welcome. The only suggestion I have, if you have doubts about the data and you are not using the data which is suggested in the classroom, you first need to check with the professor and the TA about the suitability of this data for the specific project you are working on. And these are the most important things I wanted to review in this lecture, and hopefully you are going to review all the material in the classroom, express your understanding in class discussion, engage your colleague in discussion, and learn more in the so important topic which is text analytics.